Hello, my name is Katherine. I will be talking about my project Communigram. Before I start, I think you might need to turn up your volume because I know my microphone isn't very good. So, the reference I was assigned is the design song by Moore Grover Harper, also known as MGH, and it took place between 1975 and 1984. They wanted to create a planning proposal for Dayton, Ohio's downtown riverfront, but several proposals had already been rejected in the past by the public. MGH streamed live planning and design telecasts where viewers could see their models and drawings. The architects and designers would also answer live phone calls from the public who had suggestions, ideas, inquiries, etc. They also had a storefront office where people could come in and talk to them face to face. Their project was very centered around citizen engagement, and their goal was basically to open a discussion with the community in order to create something that everyone was satisfied with. So my partner Merle and I now ask ourselves how we can engage our communities in order to make a change. My project explores extreme environmental activism in my hometown of Santa Barbara, California, which is a site subject to many natural disasters, including wildfires, floods, and mudslides. Global warming offsets nature's intrinsic systems like water and wind cycles, which makes these types of events increasingly prevalent and destructive. So the fact that climate change is affecting natural disasters, and it's not just the natural climate of Santa Barbara, means that as humans, we actually can have an impact on diminishing the damage, which is why I decided to focus on this for my topic, for my project to make a change. A performance that really inspired my work was Devaluing Property Real Estate Agency by Cooking Section. In their performances, they use food as a form of environmental activism. For example, here they had their audience taste an ice cream that they made from a plant called Japanese knotwood, which is known as highly invasive in the real estate world. And by transforming this plant that is so hated into something that people could actually enjoy, they managed to lead their audience to see the good qualities of a resource that's in excess and that's often discarded. I really liked how they used their performance to influence the way their audience thinks about something, because in my opinion, that's the first step to making a change. So I invented an app called Communigram, which is a kind of environmental spin-off of Instagram, with the goal of changing my community's mind about green activism. I started by thinking back on some acts of greening that I've done in the past. So here, my cousin and my aunt joined me to do yarn bombing in an area that was destroyed by a mudslide. This is a fence that protects mountain homes from debris flows, like big boulders that would come and destroy homes. Here, I also made a tote bag out of disposable face masks that were going to be discarded. Here, I did a little experiment with different soil samples. And this was just a small activity, but it ended up being a really great learning experience because it helped me to understand how soil instability is one of the main reasons for mudslides. So with Communigram, the goal is to convince my community that their acts of greening, no matter how small they may be, could help make a change. So this is how the app would work. There's a main feed where users can scroll through the recent posts from accounts that they follow. Posts could be about acts of greening that they've made. They could share tips or ideas. They could ask for advice on how to be more eco-friendly. Some examples of what I mean by acts of greening is everything from volunteering, donating, protesting, going to events, to simply reducing your use of energy or water or plastic, maybe reusing disposable items in different ways, or gardening. Even if it's a tiny act, the idea is that people will see it and that will inspire them to do something for the environment. Here's an example of a profile on Communigram. She has her username, her profile picture, her name, and a small description of herself or her page. Then here next to her followers and her followings, there's a tally of points. And having this tally would indicate that she participates in the rewards program of the app. Users can win points for their acts of greening, depending on what that is. They could gain more or less points. Sometimes this might require proof, like sending in a receipt, for example, if your act was doing your groceries at a locally sourced grocery store. And then the points can be cashed in for prizes or rewards. That could include a set of energy efficient light bulbs or a reusable water bottle, for example, maybe even a credit to a small business in the area. This reward system would be a good way of motivating people to use the app, even if it's something that they're not initially interested in. Here, there are her posts and her stories. Stories are basically posts that only last for 24 hours unless you save them to your profile. And you can see that she has a stories folder that's about the prizes she's won from the app. And then next to her name, you can see this blue tick. On Instagram, that would imply that it's the official account of a famous person, so you know it isn't fake. And it's essentially the same idea for Communigram. The blue tick would imply that this user is what I'm calling an ambassador of Communigram, which means she's been recognized by the administration of the app for her acts of greening. The blue tick would appear next to her name all the time, whether that be a comment, a post, or a story. And it indicates that she has an exceptional profile, and meaning she's a reliable source for anything like ideas, inspiration, or tips. And then this map is what appears when a user creates their account. So they have to select which part of Santa Barbara they live in so that their Explore page is more personalized and it suggests specific activities or events that are happening near them. The Explore page is where users discover new posts and profiles of ambassadors of Communigram that they maybe don't follow yet. So that's how the app works. Here I've created some examples that depict that sort of gray area between quote unquote good or bad activism. Social media often has us asking how honest are they being? Maybe they do the same things that they're telling others not to do. Maybe they're actually discouraging people if they post about a big donation, for example, and maybe others don't have the means to do so. So the next step of my project would be to use this app to show what could happen with activism and how it can become quite extreme. In my opinion, the only way to make a change is by coming together, because without community, our acts basically mean nothing. And social media, despite being an easy way to reach a lot of people, also tends to tear people apart. So the goal of the performance that I'll be creating is not only to provoke the audience and invite them to engage in the cause, to make those small acts of greening, but it's also to show them that there are, in fact, better and worse ways of doing so.